morning and happy Saturday, you guys. It is Amanda and Baron with Kicking Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Our sponsor for this first half is Oddmost Pizza, and I'm going to name off some of their appetizers because I'm an appetizer girl through and through. And so they've got potato poppers, chicken strips, cheesy garlic bread, their Mojos, their boneless wings, and their donut dunkers. And I'm just on their kick with their green monsters. Still and Forever's will always be my favorite. Somebody added chicken and bacon crumbles to it, and oh my!
Didn't that happen when we were actually at Oddmost?
Yep, and I've forever ordered it like that now since then because it's just so good.
I know.
Game changer.
Yes. So huge shout out to Mike. I get to enjoy a very healthy pizza with fresh ingredients on a cauliflower crust.
Yeah.
And eat it with no shame whatsoever.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I just want to say that this is not the new sponsor for the show. Skittles is not sponsoring our show.
No.
But there are Skittles in this room right now.
Yes.
There are so many colors in here. I just love it.
We're popping with color.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think every single one of these has a different meaning for each of us, which is the other cool part of it, too.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to introduce our guests?
Okay,
sure. You know both of them.
Yes. So we have Ashlie, and I'm so sorry, Ashlie. What's the name of your business?
Parkside Nutrition.
Okay. And we have Devon with...
you name it. Pick one.
Well, you're like you do physical training, right?
Yep, and online coaching. So
and
next level
coaching.
physiques and fitness.
Okay, and then the hearing place.
Salem Audiology
Thank
Clinic.
you.
Yep.
Shame on you, Baron. For me. You just...
I just put you on the spot.
Right.
I need note cards next time.
Off the top.
I know. Well, and for anyone that goes to the chamber events, these two both have wonderful taglines.
Yes.
Because Devon always says, if your favorite four-letter word is...
What?
Huh? What?
And I'm going to take full responsibility, but Ashlie has owned her tagline.
Forcibly.
Forcibly,
because it's all your fault. But you said to make it memorable, and
they remember it.
They remember it because I tell them to poop every day. And now everybody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I thought of you earlier." I'm like, "Thanks,
thank you, thank
you."
So and I just went back and looked. Ashlie was with us on the show and on YouTube. It was the 9th episode of the YouTube, but it was on July the 1st.
Okay.
So it's good to have Ashlie back.
Yes.
And Devon's been with us twice. Once before YouTube, and he came again on YouTube on September the 16th, was our 16th episode.
Okay.
But today is our 25th episode.
All right.
On the YouTube.
Happy 25th episode to us.
And Devon brought up a really good point that just because you go find us on YouTube, please hit subscribe.
Yes.
And like.
And add comments and share it.
Yes.
Right? So if you're listening on the radio and you haven't found us, it's Kickin'Cancer Productions on YouTube. We are now past our 100th subscriber.
That's awesome.
And with goals to go way higher than that too. So
that's fun. They're so much fun, the episodes, and watching all there's just so much positivity.
Oh my gosh, are you just a segue queen? So much fun. What's our recap from last week? We were at Kate Yoga Studio.
The Yogini.
The Yogini.
Kate the Yogini.
So we discovered that a yoga master, a male is called a yogi, but a female is called a yogini.
Oh, very
And I just love that.
I didn't know that.
So
sounds like something out of Harry Potter.
It does. It really does. So we titled that Kate the Great Yogini.
Yes.
Oh.
And it was fun. I learned a lot of good moves and that I can apply just easy peasy at my own home.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is the value of bringing Ashlie on, is to do that radio show wouldn't have had the impact of actually seeing these maneuvers that we did, and they weren't really difficult ones.
Yeah.
And I loved your comment as we started the second half, because I was on the floor getting ready to do mine, and she says, "I'm really scared for us right now."
What did we sign up for?
What did we sign up for? But that's the power of taking our radio show to a YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the channel one more time?
So it's called Kickin'Cancer Productions. If you search that on YouTube,
we'll pop up.
And they'll pop right up.
Perfect.
And if you're having trouble and you're looking at the screen right now, Ashley's put the word subscribe right here.
Yes.
Where my hands are at.
Hands right there.
Yeah, see, they're demonstrating the subscribe button.
Click.
So that's our recap. But I also find our food an interesting food from our magazine. It's mushrooms.
Okay. I love mushrooms.
As you begin to glow, it says all types of mushrooms help combat oxidative stress and curb inflammation. And I think both of our guests would agree that almost every disease is caused because we have too much inflammation in our bodies.
Yeah.
Another mushroom empowers the immune system. And this is turkey tails. And turkey tail mushrooms have also been used for more than 1,000 years. NIH funded our group with a $2.1 million breast cancer clinical study, which has been recently completed. Now, this breast cancer clinical study was dealing with a non-ER, non-estrogen responsive breast cancer patients, ladies. And the study has come back with some remarkable results. And when the patients have radiation therapy or chemotherapy, their immune system is oftentimes impaired, so natural killer cells are decreased. Taking these mushrooms as an adjunct therapy, not as a substitution, but to support the immune system, the natural killer cells increase on a dose-dependent basis. The red bar is no treatment with 3 grams and 6 grams per day. And then post-radiation, the immune system is depressed, and then on a dose-dependent basis, the natural killer cells are enhanced over a period of 4 weeks. So this raises base immunity function, which I think is critically important. Now, this hit home to me very personally in June of 2009, when my 84-year-old mother called me up and said, "Paul, I have something very serious to talk to you about, but you're always so busy." It's a terrible thing to hear from Mom. I said, "Mom, what's wrong?" And she's a very happy, genuine person. She goes, "I'm worried." And my mother's deeply religious, has not seen a doctor since 1968. She said, "My right breast is 5 times the size of my left. I have 6 swollen lymph glands the size of walnuts." And her voice started shaking, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I started crying. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" We spent a large part of June at the Swedish Breast Cancer Clinic in Seattle. The oncologist examined her, and upon the second examination, she had a 5.5 centimeter diameter tumor. It metastasized, it went to her sternum, it went to her liver. She had stage 4 breast cancer. The doctor gave her less than 3 months to live and stated it was the second worst case of breast cancer she has seen as a doctor in 20 years of practice. We had the Circle family meeting. Many of you have gone through this. My mom announced that she bought a pine casket, the cheapest one that she could find, because she was going to heaven. But then the doctor said, "You know, you're too old to have radiation therapy. You can't have your breast removed. But there's an interesting study on turkey tail mushrooms at Bastyr Medical School. You might want to try taking those." And that's, my mother goes, "Well, my son's supplying those." So she was put on Taxol and Herceptin, wonderful drugs. And then she started taking 8 turkey tail capsules a day, 4 in the morning and 4 in the evening. And that was in June of 2009. And today, my mother has no detectable tumors. And I'd like to bring my mother home.
They're also a natural source of vitamin D, which is so critical this time of year because we're in our houses more often. The sun has gone away because of the clouds. You're not getting natural vitamin D.
There's very few food sources of vitamin D.
What's that?
There's very few food sources of vitamin D.
Yeah, and mushrooms are a natural source of vitamin D.
Okay.
An immune system protective vitamin that many people don't get enough of. Just what Ali was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, mushrooms are an excellent source of riboflavin. Thank you for helping me with that one. A vitamin D that helps the body produce energy. So, with 2 functional nutritionists in the room, I would love your thoughts on mushrooms. Devon?
All mushrooms, for the most part, are good mushrooms as far as edible. I mean, you have reishi, lion's mane, so just taking it outside of the B vitamins, you have things that are protective in brain functionality, better mental focus, acuity, anti-inflammatory, so lots of good things when it comes to mushrooms.
Second that. I mean, they're eat more fruits and vegetables. They're all good for all good things.
What's low in calories, high in benefits, and totally delicious? Meat mushrooms. Did you know eating just 18 grams of mushrooms a day could reduce your cancer risk by up to 45%? Mushrooms are loaded with ergothioneine, an antioxidant superhero that defends your cells. But that's not all. Mushrooms are rich in potassium, which can help keep your heart healthy by lowering blood pressure. Want a stronger immune system? Mushrooms have anti-inflammatory properties and are packed with selenium, vitamin D and vitamin B6. And for your brain? Early research suggests lion's mane mushrooms could protect against neurological damage and boost nerve growth. Trying to shed some pounds? Mushrooms are a low-calorie, low-fat alternative to meat, perfect for weight loss. Plus, they're loaded with fiber, which is great for gut health. And don't forget about copper and phosphorus, essential for strong bones and cell repair. So, next time you're at the store, grab some mushrooms. Your body will thank you.
They're so flavorful.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
My husband hates them, but I love them. I will cook a whole thing of them and just eat them by the bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have a new phrase now. There's actually a mushroom that is really good. It's not eaten a lot. It's called a shiitake mushroom.
Yeah.
So when I'm really frustrated, I say, "Holy shiitake mushrooms!"
That's what my son used to try to say when he...
Yeah, I was
Holy
shiitake
shiitake
mushrooms. I didn't swear.
I still didn't swear. I just said shiitake mushrooms. So.
Yep, my son used to use that one.
Well, and I have a really fun update for you.
Okay.
Today is the first Saturday in November, and each month we change who we honor.
Yeah.
We are honoring Allison Hancock this month.
I love that. Okay, awesome.
Last Saturday, I had the pleasure of going up to Portland.
Yeah, how was that?
There are no words to describe.
I can only imagine, yeah.
There were, Breast Friends has been, next year's their 25th year. So they've been around for quite a while, massive support group for women with breast cancer. They've branched out to Bend and Hermiston and Tri-Cities. They've had an entire Latino mix. So there's a lot of these ladies that had the earpieces on so they could have the translators. And they do this amazing fashion show where these women who are going through cancer get to actually do a fashion show on a runway, the whole thing.
Oh, it's fun.
And their survivor speaker was Marianne McNamara.
Oh, that's cool. So you got a chance to say hello to her as well.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I did talk to Allison a little ahead of time, and I said, how would you feel about us honoring you for the month of November?
Yeah.
She was honored that we were going to honor her.
Right.
But here she is, a 19-year breast cancer survivor herself, and now she's become the executive director of this big organization. And they had over 300 people in that room.
Wow. That's really powerful.
It was a great day.
That's awesome.
Great day. Well, the big reason I wanted to bring both of these people back in is we were having a conversation with the three of us, and it was something that you said, Allie, during one of our last episodes. We, as a society, as a nation, we have literally convenienced ourselves out of good health. Mm-hmm. And we just got through Halloween. That holiday's done. But I was telling them about this phrase that I think is so true, that we go from a candy holiday to a pie holiday, to a cookie and candy holiday, to a boozer holiday.
Oh boy, hang on.
And if you want to add Super Bowl, which is now a holiday itself, now you have a boozer and snack holiday.
Oh yeah.
And guess what we call it? We call it the flu season. No, it's a sugar poisoning season.
Yeah, wow.
That's a lot of sugar over a period of about 8 weeks.
I didn't even think of that.
This is a sugar poisoning season.
Yeah.
That's why you don't feel good.
Holy smokes.
And so I looked at both of these and I said, how do we actually navigate the holidays, which is about family and food? How do you get through that without a bunch of guilt?
I don't know. I diet all year just for this season, though.
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm going to let each of them take their own turns, but maybe, Allie, if you want to start first. How do you think anybody listening or watching on YouTube, how do you navigate this season without a ton of guilt?
Well, I think it's really important to keep in mind, your everyday type of routine. So last time I was on here talking to Baron, we talked about the lazy river. And I've never used that analogy before, Baron, before we met up, but
I love that analogy, though.
Yeah, it works really well. Society puts us on this lazy river, and that's great, right? We want to have easy healthcare, easy, things provided to us. But health-wise, there's convenience food on every single corner. So, that's what is just easy to grab. And so if you want to be really healthy, you have to kind of create another lazy river. We talked about last time, getting off the lazy river, but you really need to create your own. So all of these healthy things are just easy. And for me, I really want the message to be we don't need to feel guilty about our food. We need to feel educated. We need to feel in control of it, because there's a lot of control of like, well, I had to have this because it was in the break room. No, you didn't. Like, you are in control of what we put in our bodies. There's no need for guilt, but you do have to set yourself up so all of these things are easier, because if you're just relying on discipline and motivation to like not reach for the cookies endlessly, it's going to give out at some point. If you ask me like 50 million times if I want a cookie, at some point during a stressful time, I'm probably going to say yes. But if I just don't have that question asked to me all that often, I'm much more likely to be successful.
Well, and it's interesting you bring up cookies, because Devon and I had this conversation. I've met Devon several times at his office. We do tons of planning stuff together with golf tournaments. And as I go through their building, which is all these places you're hearing checked, at the very back is their break room. And I don't think I've ever gone to see Devon where there's not some snacky things on the table. And that's right outside of his office.
Yeah, somebody brought in pumpkin spiced cake today.
Oh.
So, yeah.
And you didn't bring any?
I walked right by.
Walked right by it.
Control. I'm proud of you.
Well, and the one that I just love Devon's comment is, and I've done this at places I've worked, where they get that 4-pack of crumble cookies, which is even more
It's now
dangerous.
6 now.
Oh, a 6-pack.
Because they were coming out with 6 flavors now instead of 4.
Well, it's even
It just
more dangerous
transitioned.
because the parking lot where Devon's works, Crumble Cookies is right across the parking lot.
Oh.
500 feet.
Not that we
Yeah, I haven't measured or anything. But
But I know, Devon, you pulled this up earlier when it comes to a crumble cookie. How many calories is in one crumble cookie?
so I actually have pulled up right here. The average, looking through them, is about 700. The highest, which right now is their Chips Ahoy Blue Monster cookie, is 880.
Wow.
And that's in one cookie. However, when you're just kind of scanning through the nutrition, it's listed as 146 or 147, which is about a sixth of the cookie.
Okay.
And so it goes to Allie's point about really being smart in your understanding of how to read a nutrition label, and just also what you're getting ready to partake in. Like, if you're going to eat a cookie, eat the cookie. Don't feel guilty, but understand that you could probably eat 2 meals twice over and be at about the same as what that one crumble cookie is. So you have to ask yourself, what am I gaining from this? Is it just the fact that I want the cookie? Am I looking for something that's going to satisfy and fill me up? Because you're probably going to eat one and then want another.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I had done some research too. Another great place to go for the holidays is the Cheesecake Factory.
Ooh,
Ever
yes.
been to cheesecakes?
Yeah.
Do you know how
My
many?
beloved cheesecake.
Yeah. Do you know how many calories is in the average slice of cheesecake?
It's like 1,100, isn't it?
You're lying.
No. It's between
Sugar, butter, fat. That's what makes cheesecake.
Crushing dreams over
12 to 1,500 calories for one slice of a Cheesecake Factory. And Allie, how many calories should somebody consume during the course of the whole day anyway? Like,
I mean, obviously, it ranges by a lot, whether your activity level, size,
I guess that's a
muscle
pretty
mass.
wide question.
Yeah, but I mean, if I had to pick one, like 2,000-ish calories,
So
depending.
if
Very
you should
average
consume
person.
2,000 for the whole day,
Yeah,
and you got 800 of it from a cookie,
yeah.
or 1,200 of it from a piece of cheesecake.
Well, I think that's a key point there, because like calories are really easy to rattle off, like fact wise, and me and Devon probably know ridiculous food facts that no one else really cares about or knows about. And calories gets harped on a lot, but I would say, to his point with like the cookie serving size, like a lot of serving sizes are like pretty good, really, like if you follow the label, and more so to like what the nutrition label says, but also if we're choosing like how to feel and what we're giving our body to function really well. Because we try not to come at it like as coaches from like a guilt standpoint. It's like, if you want to have a cookie, have a cookie, but I want you as like my nutrition client to feel really good. So if eating the whole cookie doesn't make you feel good, I'm not on board with that plan. If eating 2/6 of a cookie or one actual serving size of the cookie and having it with a regular meal allows you to have the cookie and allows you to feel good, I'm on board with that plan. Because calorie wise, like, it's so fluid. I could have a very sedentary day today, not quote burn enough calories, and then have a very active day on Saturday and like make up for that deficit or whatever. So it's very much on a weekly basis. So I would say try not to get too bogged down in like the calorie counting of things. It definitely matters, but like our overall activity and like lifestyle routine, what I'm eating on a weekly basis is definitely going to have a larger impact.
I see a lot of head nodding, Devon. You got thoughts to
Go,
add on this? I
Devon,
can
go.
tell.
Yeah, there are a couple of things. I mean, she hits all the points. My thing is the first bite tastes like the last bite. So that's something that you should always remember. You don't have to eat the whole thing. If half a cookie, to her point, is what satisfies you and you can move on, then eat half the cookie. The other thing is, yes, calories get harped on. And we could rattle off a ton of different things, and we have nerded out on it before. But the other thing to keep in mind is the more processed a food becomes, the easier it is to eat, but also the less filling it becomes. So it's a double-edged sword. So to give you an example, have you ever sat down and just started eating a bag of potato chips?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
More than I'd like to
Pretty
admit.
easy to
There's
kill.
a reason they
And
came with the
right?
phrase, you can't eat just one.
Yeah, yeah. Like you could sit down and eat a whole bag of potato chips, no problem, probably still be hungry.
Yeah.
Now, if I gave that same serving amount to you in French fries, it'd still be good, but you probably wouldn't be able to eat an entire bag of French fries, right?
No.
Slightly less processed. Then we back it all the way up. If I gave you a potato that filled those bags, or that bag, would you be able to eat several whole cooked potatoes?
Not even one, probably.
Right? Maybe one medium, depending on the person, a large one.
Yeah.
But as you can see, like, as a food gets more and more processed, it makes it less and less filling.
Interesting.
So aiming for whole foods is obviously the best course of action. It's okay to mix in those highly processed foods or slightly processed foods, but you don't want that to be the bulk of your calorie consumption, because then you're just going to
Food
blow
with
the
no brakes.
Yeah,
They got no brakes on them.
exactly. You're going to blow that out of the water and still feel hungry, and then think, why am I not filling myself up, but I'm eating all of these things?
Yeah.
So prioritizing whole foods first, and then add in some of those processed or higher processed foods.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure if he took your title as Segway Queen, but he definitely led into something I want to talk about. So.
Hey, look at that.
There you go.
I feel there we go.
Segway King.
I feel like the little brother right now. The only thing I'm missing is like being able to swing my feet on the floor, like looking up at everybody.
Well, because I don't know about you guys, but I go to some place to eat for breakfast, and you've got your toast, and so I want some jam to go with my toast because I like jam on my toast. And almost every place you go is going to have these little Smuckers.
You don't
Yes.
like dry bread?
No.
Oh,
Butter maybe. but then because of this, what we've been doing with this show, then I thought, well, you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
That's the name of the show, right? And so I said, okay, fine. What's in this jam? What's in this jam? So this is the Smucker's Seedless Blackberry Jam.
Seedless, problem number one.
Well, blackberries is number one, which kind of
Okay.
makes sense. And by the way, the strawberry and the blackberry are the same except for strawberry versus blackberry. But they're basically the same. Here's the scary part. The number 2 ingredient is high fructose corn syrup.
Okay. Sugar.
And the number 3 ingredient is corn syrup.
Sugar.
And the number 4 ingredient is fruit pectin.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with
There
that one.
is- It's adding back fiber, or like to give it the
It's
texture.
a
that you want.
binder.
Yeah.
That's what makes it
Oh,
thick.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold it all together.
Yeah.
That way you don't just have runny.
Runny
Jam.
Jam,
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Liquid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
running sugar.
yeah.
Yes.
Runny liquid flavored sugar.
So of the first 4 ingredients, you have the flavor, which is the blackberry, and you have the binder, which is the pectin, and then you have high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup.
Yeah. Man.
So this isn't even really jam.
No.
So I'm like, fine, those 2 will go away. I'm going to go with the orange marmalade,
Okay.
because orange marmalade can be good if it's made correctly. Number 1 ingredient, high fructose corn syrup.
Really?
Number 2 ingredient, corn syrup. Number 3 ingredient is orange peel.
Oh,
Give it some color.
Okay. Okay.
Number 4 ingredient is orange juice concentrate. So you got to get orange in here somehow.
Yeah.
But the number
Be
1 and number
suspicious.
2 is just sugar.
Jeez.
So I'm like, dadgummit, what am I going to put on it? So I want to go with the apple butter.
Okay. Yep.
But to Devon's point, it's not even real food. It's a bunch of processed stuff.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
even
cheaper.
really jam.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper
Yeah.
to produce.
and it can sit on the table for a year
Yeah,
before
forever.
they have to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So,
there's
yeah.
the key point.
Yeah.
How long it's on the
But
shelf.
so what would we pair with that? Because if that's food with no breaks, right? Because you could probably eat a lot of that because you're just like similar with bread, right?
Sure.
So like, any idea what we'd pair with that to like create some breaks on that meal so we don't overeat? Real
Well,
food?
the first thing I'll do is not put this on my bread anymore.
Ideally not. I would go with butter.
But if you had to.
I would go with butter and
So
toast
if I had to,
and some eggs. Yeah, on toast. Yeah, but like have eggs, because eggs are really hard to overeat on, right? So we got some protein, we got some fat, and then you're not going to overeat on that kind of stuff. And we can incorporate that in a single serve, container with.
Well, now you make me
eggs.
feel so much better about myself because I ordered scrambled eggs.
There we go.
I ordered scrambled eggs.
Protein.
And I had a piece of whole wheat bread.
There you go.
Good myself so far. And I'm like, dadgummit, but this isn't a very big serving either.
No.
So thank you for making me feel better about
You're
myself.
welcome.
It's still naughty.
Yep.
Still holding.
You're not helping. You're not helping.
Under the bus you go.
Well, and the other thing I wanted to circle back on is a conversation that we've had before about my friend in Portland who they put his wife on a medication. She'd been on for 3 months. She was on it for 3 years. Totally messed her brain up. In the process of trying to get everything back to normal, they went 100% healthy, which is really hard to do, especially if you go out with your friends. So finally, they went to what he calls the 80-20 principle.
Yeah.
Or at least start with the 70-30. So 80% of what you're doing is healthy, and 20% you leave some room for life. But I know, Devon, you kind of touched on the cookie, but what are your other thoughts on how to live this 80-20 principle?
Yeah, it's actually perfect timing too, because we just got back from a vacation, and this is something I kind of go 70-30, but 80-20, 70-30, they both work, and it's a rule that I always kind of take into account anytime I travel. But it's basically 70% of the time you're going to stick to primarily whole foods diet, and then the other 20 or 30% are to, enjoy, eat freely without having to think too much about what's going into it. And this is something that I use when I travel a lot. I use it on a regular basis, but when I travel, I typically eat 5 or 6 times a day. So when I travel, what I'll do is I'll eat 3 times a day, a little bit larger meals, not too much, but the first meal of the day will typically be high in protein, a little bit higher in fat, lower in carbs. Second meal of the day will kind of have a blend of all 3, and then the third meal is one that I'll enjoy, and it makes it really hard to be able to overeat that way. It's just something that works for me because overall I'm eating less, and so it kind of saves that space for having a meal out. Now I don't go crazy, but it's just I try to stick to what I would normally eat 2 out of those 3 meals of the day, and then whether it's a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner, if the family and I want to go out, I don't have to think too much. I can just kind of order within reason. This sounds good, and know that I'm not going to be, blowing what I would typically do out of the water on a day-to-day basis. But for the average person just going throughout their week, if you eat, we'll say 3 meals in a day, that's 21 meals over the course of a week, give or take. So if you have 18 of those be within what your regular parameters are, then enjoy the other 4, with friends, family, a cookie, some jam. You can kind of do those things and know that you're going to be able to stay even as you go.
Okay.
That's great advice.
It is, because it makes it possible. It makes it realistic.
Yeah.
Where I know when I first started dieting, I was just 100% dieting, and it was awful. And it made me hate it.
I was just going to say, it will make you hate it, and when you hate something, the natural response is, I don't want to do this.
Correct. And so when you can have that healthy balance, it makes it more enjoyable, and it gives you something to look forward to, but it also makes you appreciate the good things. And
I think it's something you need to practice too, because a lot of clients, it's great when you get someone who's just we could say like a hyper responder, right? Like they do the things and they get phenomenal results. But then I'm like, that's fantastic. I'm fine to hit the gas as long as you want. But no, at some point, we got to practice eating cake. And they're like, oh, but I can't have cake. I'm dieting. I was like, but we need to transition from this dieting, and that's why people rebound so hard, right? They never learned how to have that. How do I have a little bit of Halloween candy without eating the whole bucket in one sitting? We need to practice that, and it's uncomfortable because it's not black, it's not white, it's truly that gray area. And it's usually where someone needs to kind of hold your hand a little bit of okay, here's the plan. You're going to sit down at the table, and you're going to pick out your 5 favorite pieces. You're going to eat it while you're not watching your phone, while you're not watching TV, you're not distracted, and you can be present and enjoy those pieces, and then be done.
Yep.
Instead of just hoarding it and stuffing it in your face before somebody realizes that you're eating candy when you're supposed to be on a diet.
Yes.
You have to practice that stuff, and it's just not. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
Well, we're almost out of time, and I want to give Allie a chance because she has a really good comment on this 80-20 principle. So we'll pick that up after the commercial break.
Okay, perfect.
But is this beneficial for you, Amanda?
Oh, very. Yes.
You know,
This is my, it's, yes.
As I was talking to these guys, it's like the number one thing we're trying to get people to understand with Kicking Cancer is eat real food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't take people from here to here immediately. That's a big step.
Yeah.
So how can we be more mindful, especially over the next 8 weeks or 10 weeks? We got to get through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And not gain 100 pounds and feel guilty.
Right.
So
Agreed.
I'm glad you guys are here to share thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Odd Moe's Pizza. Today I'm going to go grab me some after this show, and I'm going to go bunker down in my house and just relax and puzzle and do absolutely nothing. I'm a poozler. So give them a call. They will deliver straight to your door, fresh, phenomenal ingredients with the best pizza in town. So huge shout out to Odd Moe's for that. So thank you. All right, we'll be right back. You guys stay tuned.